I don't worry. I tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago, and I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
If you want to, but where do you think most Yang gangers stand on this whole third-party issue? We know that Yang has publicly endorsed Biden, right? But then he also did this move where he challenged the results of, where he challenged them canceling the New York primary. You know what I mean? So like, it's kind of like a mixed message to me. Is he supporting Biden or the establishment, or is he kind of like saying they shouldn't control the elections like this, and we're challenging by challenging the primary, he makes it so that like Biden might not win New York. You know what I mean?
So you're in California, right?
No, I'm from New York.
Oh, you are in New York.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm in New York also, and really, like, from my perspective, but also what I understood from Yang's perspective, is challenging the removal of the presidential primary on the New York state ballot was really about also affecting down ballot candidates. I mean, with so much support behind Andrew Yang, so many people who worked on the ground to get him on the ballot, people who committed to running as delegates in every district, and we got delegates in every district of the state. And now we have a lot of what we're calling Yang Gang for Congress candidates running in various districts. So to all of a sudden have a presidential primary that was scheduled for the same day as all the down ballot primaries, and it was all going to be done on mail-in ballot for most people, it just seemed like it was just trying to erase the support of, of people who would support Yang for president, and maybe diminish the impact that wanting to vote for him would have for the associated down ballot candidates.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think it was about saying don't vote for Joe Biden, but also it wasn't just for Yang. It was also like the lawsuit also included some of Bernie's delegates. So it was Andrew Yang's delegates, and some of Bernie's delegates, because like they had also worked equally hard to get themselves on the ballot, and then were removed without their consent. And
okay, so
the other issue is when those delegates, if any of those delegates get to go to the DNC, they get to inform what's going to happen on the platform with Joe Biden as the presidential nominee, presumably. And that might seem like a small thing, but it can be the next step in sort of the evolution of the DNC, instead of just staying stuck with what we've been told we're supposed to fall in line with for the last
You're saying some super
decade.
interesting things, and I actually just want to get in a moment. So the thing is that if I remember correctly, you were a delegate for Yang, right?
Say again?
You're a delegate for Yang, right?
I got on the ballot as a delegate for Yang.
And that actually, right, if I vote for you, right, to be the delegate for New York, right, if we can get to that percentage point, then you can actually pressure the DNC when you're in there, right, and make Yang's voice more powerful and help him. So if I vote for Yang, right, it's not like you're not going to vote for Biden or you're not going to help out in that way, right, but we have more leverage. So yes, vote for Yang. That's how I see it.
Yeah, so even if you vote for Yang and he doesn't win the primary, if he gets enough of the votes in any district, he can have delegates go and represent at the DNC. And that means like being able to influence what the platform policy is for Joe Biden and his campaign. That can mean influencing who his pick is for VP. Like there are a lot of other tangential things that we can influence as delegates, besides just getting the nominee for president.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely want to hear from you.
I just wanted to say that she brought up a great point, that it's not so much against Biden, it's like for those candidates. I mean, Tulsi is also getting her hand involved in, supporting certain candidates in South Carolina and other places. So it's like, suppressing the voices of people there in New York that are progressive candidates for Congress or local House seats and stuff like that, that I think Yang was advocating for.
Okay. So just so you know, Jennifer, are you actually on the Yang Gang Slack, on the Humanity Forward Slack?
I'm on the Humanity Forward Slack, yeah.
Okay. So the thing is that I'm also on the Humanity Forward Slack, and I'm super impressed. I'm also on the MPP Slack. I'm on the Tulsi Slack. I'm on the BNC. I'm on a whole bunch of different Slacks. You know what I mean? And honestly, the Yang Gang, right, and the MPP, both of them, right, have active Slacks, and I'm super impressed with their loadout and the way that they're approaching this problem. The Tulsi Slack is dead. Okay, it's really unfortunate, but there was not really a strong, legacy left behind. Now, one of the things that we talked about tonight, right, was like the interference of the DNC, right, inside the campaign. Now, Yang was an unknown, and they just the way that Bernie was an unknown in 2016, the amount of meddling was different. So it's cool that you were working closely with the campaign. Now, I know for the Tulsi delegates, I know for the Bernie delegates, we were both pressured to sign NDAs. What about Yang delegates? Were you guys also pressured to sign NDAs?
As delegates?
Yeah, because we were pressured to sign NDAs. So that's interesting. So it looks like there may be less interference in your campaign than there was from the establishment than there was for the Tulsi and the Bernie campaign. Once again, you're saying there was no NDAs asked at any time. Even to work with the campaign, you had to sign NDAs. For you, there was no NDAs involved at any time?
For me, there wasn't, and I only volunteered. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I may have actually signed one as a delegate.
Okay.
I mean, when I first started volunteering, no, but I actually may have signed one, and it's just been long enough that I'm not remembering.
And then how were delegates decided on who got to be a delegate? Did someone behind a closed door? Was there an election? How was the delegates decided?
No, it was people who were enthusiastic for Andrew Yang's campaign.
Okay.
We would meet up during mobilize events, and people in the district would say, we need this many men and this many women to fill our slate of delegates. Is anybody willing to do that? And so many people had said, I have no idea what this means. I have no idea what I have to do, but I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to do it. And there would be a meeting about this is what it means to be a delegate. This is how you get on the ballot as a delegate.
Okay.
And then we would commit to it. And really, everybody who said, I'll be a delegate for Andrew Yang, we all went out collecting signatures to get Andrew Yang on the ballot and to get our slate of delegates in our district on the ballot. Okay. So it was very grassroots.
We were talking earlier before too, you said many of the people that were in Yang Gang, including yourself, right? Even though I believe you're currently supporting Jonathan Herzog and some other candidates as well, right? You're doing a lot of positive work now, but you have very little political experience, am I correct? And this
totally.
And this is true pretty much across the Yang Gang, but you worked as a manager or owner of a business before, right? This is obvious, right? Just from your know-how. But you're saying that across the Yang Gang, pretty much universally, there's very little political experience. Am I correct?
I don't know. I don't know everybody's experience and background necessarily, but I would say a lot of people just jumped in because they were enthusiastic for Andrew Yang's policies.
That's wonderful.
They were excited about them, and I think the one experience that I did have within the Andrew Yang campaign as a volunteer was that everybody else who volunteered just came and showed up with what they could bring as far as their skills, their talents, what they could contribute in different ways, and not stepping in and saying this is how you're supposed to do it. Let me show you.
Just a word from the Tulsi and the Bernie campaign: be careful of any career political workers, not even career politicians, career political workers coming in and being assigned to top positions without really getting the passionate people involved and trying to cut them out. Be very careful of that. Yeah. So,
I think my feeling is that even though sometimes it feels like you don't know what you're doing because you don't have the experience, sometimes that's a good thing because you're willing to do things in a different way. Yeah. Because, my personal feeling is doing things the same way over and over that has been done in politics, it obviously is not working. So why would we keep trying to do that again?
Yeah. So
I wanted to just say that, I'm very impressed by the Yang Gang and what they're doing in their organization. Definitely send me a link to that Slack for the Tulsi people. I would love to use my platform to kind of reinvigorate that, because I think the Tulsi people are very decentralized, and that's an unfortunate thing. Organization is super important, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned from the Yang people. So Jennifer, it's nice to meet you. I have to head out. I have another interview I have to do, but it was really nice to meet you. My Twitter, if E wants to give you my Twitter,
Absolutely.
consider following me, and maybe I can reach out to you. But
It's
yeah,
easy.
really
It's
nice to
Israel
meet you.
S.
You guys
Daily.
do excellent work.
Israel S. Daily, real easy.
Yeah, Israel's Daily. All right, E, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks, man. Thank
Hopefully
you.
I contributed something. Thanks.
Okay. So
All right.
I still have another question for you, Jennifer, right? So my question is, as Tulsi supporters, right? Yeah, what can Tulsi supporters do for Yang Gang? What can MPP do for Yang Gang? You know what I mean? Then, right, what can Yang Gang do for us? You know what I mean? So first of all, right, how can we help? Yeah, let's ask first, how can we help you? So what can Tulsi supporters do for Yang Gang right now?
I think some of the most important things that can be done is helping with congressional and Senate candidates that are running across the country.
Okay.
I think this is one thing that people think, oh, I can't vote for that person, so I can't really do much. But contributing to the campaigns, helping to phone bank, helping to text bank, like those things are like really important day-to-day things that help keep those campaigns going and give enough traction for those candidates to have a big enough platform,
Okay.
especially when they're challenging incumbents.
So
Can I give you an example?
Well, I want to ask, like, right, how do we know which candidates to support, right? Because there's the Humanity Forward thing, and then there's the, and then there's like the UBI, right, approved thing, and then there's like
Yes.
there's different organizations, Income
Here's-
Movement, right?
Income Movement,
Yeah.
yes, has endorsed, and it's funny because not all of them have endorsed all the candidates, and that's not an indication of what candidate is good and what candidate isn't. It's a matter of like these are also sort of fledgling organizations, right? And so they don't necessarily have enough staff and manpower to go through all of the applications to vet everybody. So it's like you sort of have to check out all of those different platforms and like look at the candidates. And I think people just need to do their own due diligence and research to see, like, is this a candidate that if they were running in my district, would I want to support them? Would I want to vote for them? And there are definitely candidates that can win their elections. And I think we're sort of shooting ourselves in the foot when we try to calculate what are the odds that this candidate can beat, especially an incumbent.
Okay, so let me hear these specific names. Let me hear those examples now. We're both from New York, right? So I have my candidates that I like. I bet you we have some in common, yeah? So let's see who's up first.
So let's see, we've got in the New York City area, we've got Jonathan Herzog in New York 10. We've got Shavonna Newsom in New York 15.
Okay.
We've got James Felton Keith in New York 13.
Oh my God, you know everything. That's crazy. Okay.
Say again?
Deep. I respect that knowledge. You just come off the top of the head with it. How do you know that? How do you know so many names like that?
Because like they're all like right near where I'm at in New York,
Okay.
and like I'm posting a lot online, and so like when people ask, I'm like, oh yeah, this one and this one and this one and this one. I've been paying
Keep
attention
going. We'll
to
put all
the
the
upcoming
links.
races.
All the links can be in the video, like below, like every single candidate you've mentioned, yeah? I'm just going to mention one personal favorite, my Mel Gagarin. He's trying to take out like Grace Meng, DNC,
Okay.
vice chair. Oh,
that-
hell no. No more DNC. They got to go.
Is that New York 5?
I forget. I think so, yeah. I'm not really good with the numbers, but I'm super impressed, yeah, with just the way you spin out the numbers. And the redistricting is going to be crazy too. There's so much crap going on. It's crazy. Hey, so what about the AOC race? Oh my God, AOC versus
Oh
the
yeah,
other
so
lady.
Badroom Khan is
Yeah.
running against AOC in District 14.
That's a tough one. Personally, you don't have to. But what do you think? I know that Khan's for UBI. So what do you think about that? That's a tough one, right?
It's going to be it's a hard race because
Yeah, okay.
AOC has a lot more funding. In fact, hers is the most expensive congressional race in New York State right now.
Are you supporting
in
one
that
over
district.
the other, or?
I haven't really followed
I
Cortez, and so I can't really speak to it. I mean, the one thing I would say is that she and Badroom Khan, and I think there's one other challenger, they've actually been having congressional debates each week. So I have to like respect that going into the primary that she is willing to willing to be confident enough in what she's doing for her district that she's willing to debate the people who are running against her. Whereas a lot of other incumbents in the New York City area, either they decline the invitation to debate the candidates that are challenging them, or if they do finally accept an invitation, they wait until like literally days before the actual primary date in order to hope that supporters will have already mailed in their mail-in ballots.
Okay.
So, and then there are other candidates. Luci Gallo in a district in Brooklyn, New York 9, he was left out of a debate completely, which like is really unfortunate. And I don't understand how somebody can host a debate and not invite all the candidates that want to be accepted.
Wait a minute. I bet you do understand. This is deliberate. You know, they've been playing dirty games from the beginning. You know, I mean, John Yang. You know, I mean, leaving him off the pictures half the time. They don't want this actual change to happen. You get what I mean? These people.
I know.
Yeah. If these people, like, you know, forgot something like their boss's coffee, they'd get fired. You know, I mean, they know if they wanted to, but they're actually incentivized not to talk with the candidates and to cancel them.
And I think that speaks to the idea that that they want to perpetuate that people only want to vote for a winner. So unless you, out of the gate, have the biggest war chest, the most money, the most number of supporters, they don't want to sort of generate any support for you in the media, in the public sphere, because they really want to get behind the person who seems the most viable. And I think that's always a mistake and a misstep. And I think if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that when you're faced with all of these huge seismic shifts that we've been experiencing in the last few months, I still feel like, this is just me personally analyzing the situation, but I still feel like if Yang had held out for another month, he would be a top contender right now, because everything that he spoke to is addressing issues that we are dealing with right in this moment. And if he had not suspended his campaign in February, if he'd held out through March and a few of the other challengers had suspended their campaigns, even though they threw their support behind Biden, I still believe like right now in April, in May, and then the beginning of June, we'd have a big push to support Yang if his campaign is still going.
Okay, so you seem like a pretty hardcore supporter. Did you go to Iowa? Did you go to New Hampshire? Anything like that?
I did not go to Iowa. I did not go to New Hampshire. I was in New York the whole time.
You know people who went because you're pretty deep with the crew, yeah?
I do know some people who went, and I will tell you, when people were going specifically to New Hampshire, some of us here in New York were being told, don't go, let other people go. We need you in New York, because we were doing signature collection at the time.
So yeah, I get you. So wait up a second. Okay, so Elon Musk, Dave Chappelle, right? Huge endorsements. You're telling me he only got 1%? Do you even believe that? Like, the thing is that, right? We saw like for the Tulsi Gabbard campaign, right? They said that the actually United Nations says that when you're like have a discrepancy of over 10%, right? Double digits, right? And between the exit polling and the actual results, that's signs of tampering. But it was more than 10%. It was like 18, like it was some really high number. Plus the whole Pete Buttigieg, right? Like being like, you know, with the weird stuff about his wife and the weird ties to the company. Like, you know, like the whole world was laughing at it and saying like, this is ridiculous. So the thing is that maybe, right, Yang took a look around and said, you know, this is just, we're not going to get a fair shot here. They're going to make up the numbers. They control the numbers here. I can't, you know, you can't even count the elections. This is a wrap.
Yeah, I went to the Iowa caucus satellite location in Manhattan for that Iowa caucus. And
it was
there was
live, right?
yeah.
I went to several events. Yang was. There's an event called like a thing where like all the candidates speak at the debate, and it's like a shared party. Mm-hmm. Yang had so many people. They had an overflow room. They had 2 rooms. Like nobody else had that. As in terms of numbers, they were dominating. Yeah. What about in Iowa? Like they was really live over there. He put a lot of time and effort into it. And it'll come 1%. It don't make no sense. So.
Well, and it doesn't make sense. Well, I just personally I found the whole caucusing method a bit troubling, but even at the satellite location, the person who was leading it, it was apparent did not have much training,
Okay,
and
so-
sort of did not know the process and did not know what she was doing. And I will say we did not have many people in the room who
Yeah.
came there intentionally saying, I am with Andrew Yang. They're, like, I polled people as they were coming in.
So going back to
And-
the original thing, right? Like, yes, right? The Tulsi people will come out, right, and vote for your candidates. I crossed over, right? I will help, like, vote for them, yeah? But I don't
Yeah.
really believe that they're going to actually win because I think that the polls are controlled. It was a very good possibility. I'll try, though. I will try. I'm down to fight, whatever.
Well, and I'm always of the belief that, you know, we could say, well, it's all controlled, there's not much we can do, or we can just make our voices so amplified by all being very vocal and doing what we want to do with the candidates that we want, that if it seems skewed in the end, we have grounds upon which to
Can we? Okay,
actually
so
say no.
look at the Yang gang, right? The thing is that you look at Yang, and he's speaking with Pete Buttigieg. He's speaking with the DNC chair Tom Perez, right? Because the thing is that he has their respect. Why? Because people like yourself, people with obvious skill and energy, right? Yeah? And they're not really infiltrated, right? Because they didn't really take him seriously at first. They didn't realize what a strength the Yang gang is. To tell you the truth, as cool as Yang is, the Yang gang is much more formidable, yeah? Because they are the numbers, they are the people, they are the new political energy, right? That they didn't account for. Almost a black swan event, like within their, Yang is a complete, they had no expectation of this. And a whole new army of technically savvy, aware people are just like jumping into the fray. So, what can, right, we do for you besides helping with those elections, right, and try to get those numbers, income movement. What were the other ones that you said are the good platforms to find these candidates?
It's Income Movement, Humanity Forward, and UBI Caucus.
Oh, yeah,
are
okay.
like the three main ones.
Those are the big three. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
we're definitely going to help out that. And by the way, Tulsi's supporting UBI anyways, right? So we're completely on board for that. What can we do to bring in MPP?
And so I'm not very familiar with MPP, so I'm not quite sure what the dynamic would be there.
Okay.
But
I think the
I
left
think
needs to coalesce. We need to, right? You can see that MPP even put UBI in their thing, right? Once again, Yang Gang is having, even Bernie, right, came around, right? Before he tried to deny UBI, he tried to say federal job guarantee. Everybody's coming online to like Yang's way of thinking. I think that Yang's, supporters should spread themselves out into all these groups and make sure that these groups are on board with Yang's, UBI policy and democracy dollars and just hammers it through and can bring a coalition of the left and bring a consolidation together around certain issues. This UBI thing could be, the spark and puts Yang into that leadership position where he has coalesced the left and made something happen for the people. It seems like it's on the brink of happening, right?
Yeah, and so that was so Yang ran as president, and people asked him, why aren't you working your way up? Why aren't you going for some other office and sort of working your way up, which is again the way things have been done. And
Yeah.
Everybody sort of wants to say fall in line and do things the way things have been done because that's been working so great. And he's sort of we don't have time for that now. I see the world that we're leaving for my children, and I don't have 28 years to
I agree.
work my way up
I
to
agree.
running. And so really, I think the power of what Andrew Yang did was he galvanized people who also saw yes, this is not the world we want to leave for the next generations. This is not even the world I want to be living in, and I'm willing to do something about it. Because look at this guy, he's willing to do something about it. He's not willing to just start chipping away at can he get there in 28 or 30 years. He's willing to do something right now about it. And I think it was that, and just the heart, caring about people, and not just saying I'm going to help fix this one problem for this one sector of people in this one way.
I've been in politics for a while, and I've seen a lot of cool characters come and go. I like Yang, straight up. He says a lot of cool, new, interesting things. That's true, but there's other people who said cool, new, interesting things before, and they kind of just went away, right? Yang Gang has really activated a new base, which is very cool, but I really want to make sure that base locks in and gets success and continues to thrive. And it looks like they're doing pretty well right now. I'm just, super nervous about it. Like this spark cannot go out. Yeah. So besides
and I think I think that's played out with like other movements. I mean, think back years ago to the Tea Party movement. Where's that now?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't my movement, but you sort of felt like, oh, there's something here. It's a offshoot. It's getting some traction, and where is it now?
Okay.
Where are their candidates now? What is their platform and mission now? And you don't really hear anything of that. So, and Bernie's platform did this in the last couple of election cycles, where they have been getting people in Congress that are more in alignment with Bernie's progressive policies, and that's great. And I think it's like those kinds of steps. And like even though I backed Andrew Yang for president this time around, it's not to say that I wouldn't back somebody like or Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard or some of the people who then of their philosophies want to run for Congress. Because for me, it's about like people who have ideas and actually can move things forward.
Yeah. Even like I would even follow if the whole Yang gang could come together. Yeah. Okay, so.
Sorry, you're hearing my phone ringing.
Sorry, that's fine. I don't want to have it announce who's calling you. I don't want to dox anybody. Yeah. So the thing is, right? Like if the whole Yang gang came together and said we're going to vote for Biden, but Biden's going to give us something that we want too, right? Like he guarantees something for us, we'll guarantee something for him. I would get in on that deal in order to get to force through political change. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to be a part of, but the Yang gang has to come together and coalesce and make a decision here. Like, are they going to go this way or that way? Are they going to get something or not? And the whole, what can we do to bring that together? I really want to see the whole left coalesce together and get some gains here and get some wins here on the board.
And it's funny, I think that's a hard thing in the sense that not all Yang gang were left to begin with. Like there are a fair number who were Republicans.
That's fine. We don't need to agree on everything. We just need to. There's got to be some few things that we can agree on, right? The UBI thing is actually catching on really, really well, right? The democracy dollars. I don't hear so much about that, right? The UBI, whatever. UBI, what do they call it again? UBI caucus.
Yes.
Okay, UBI caucus, right? But what about democracy dollars? Like that's I think the corruption is a problem first. That's just me, though. You know what I mean? So I think once you get rid of the corruption, then you make those other things possible. But that's so.
I think that's like less tangible to most people, and like Yang did talk about this. Like when people are worried about like the day-to-day aspects of their lives, like how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to buy food? How am I going to pay my bills? And can I get to work so that I can keep making money to do those things? Like when that is like your day-to-day concern, people have less bandwidth to think about, and who should I be supporting to make my life better in politics?
Okay.
So like I do think like things like the democracy dollars are very important as well. It's going to empower people to back candidates and to sort of get rid of these giant pots of money that people either dump into their own campaigns or get from corporations that are dumping into their campaigns. But I think people don't like look at the nitty gritty of that when they're trying to figure out like, okay, can I just keep sustaining the cash flow of my life?
Okay. I have another question for you. So you've heard of community-based organizations?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's CBOs that exist. I think maybe even like Andrew Yang maybe ran a CBO for a while, right? Or not-for-profits, things like that, yeah? And the thing is that a lot of these groups, like being in the Tulsi campaign, I would try to recruit them, right, to, because, they had like a bunch of members who were politically involved. In fact, it can even be part of like political machinery, right? So the thing is that, how is Yang Gang, right, reaching out towards these community-based organizations and bringing them on board and like creating coalitions there? Is that something that you guys are actively working on?
And you know what? Since the campaign was suspended, I have not been terribly involved in the Humanity Forward Slack, so I'm not sure what the build out of connecting with other organizations is like for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like fantastic that Humanity Forward itself has even been started and sort of is like ramping up so quickly and nimbly. But because I've been so involved with New York State candidates who are running right now, I haven't been so involved in Humanity Forward. And I'm sure like once we get through primary season, like I'll be able to have enough time to be involved in that.
Yeah, if they could set up something to like the capacity and the size of like our revolution, something like that, you know what I mean? Like a long lasting, like lasting more than 4 years, 5 years, like gaining presence in the community. I think that could really give Andrew a strong shot, like for the future, and just would be a strong political tool to continue to use in his current, in his fight. And those could be bases of operation for, Humanity Forward, UBI Caucus, and all these other candidates as well.
But I would also say like there's the idea of like reaching out to those other organizations and like trying to bring them in, trying to bring them to work together and collaborate, right? Absolutely. But then there's also the aspect of like I said, Andrew Yang sort of galvanized individuals, like inspired them to take action. And so even though he suspended his campaign, started Humanity Forward, not everybody necessarily was like, okay, I'm jumping into Humanity Forward. Like a lot of people have and still are involved with him in Humanity Forward. But then there are people who, even here in the New York City area, there was one delegate from a little ways upstate who, when there was a need for food at food pantries here in New York, and there were crops rotting in fields out in the Midwest and the West, he himself organized with farmers out in, I think it was Idaho.
Yeah, I was super impressed by that.
Truckers organized and like brought food to the food pantries in the Bronx where people had no food.
I was super inspired by that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like awesome. That wasn't even an organization. That wasn't even reaching out to an organization that already existed. That was like an individual Yang Gang member who just like went to it and did that. And I think it's those kinds of actions that are
so these compassionate
just
actions,
as inspiring.
Right? This appeal to Republicans and Democrats, right? That's something you could say for Tulsi Gabbard, at her campaign as well. It's something you could say for MPPs trying to make that play as well too. Like in the meetings, they literally say, we're not just going after previous Democrats. We also want Republicans too, because there seems to be this kind of like merger happening, right? I think we can see that happening on the Hill a lot, right? Where instead of right wing and left wing, they're both going populist. So there's like a new kind of like a triforce kind of thing going on.
Yeah, so, it's like when you get these Democrats and these Republicans who are supporting these other candidates that aren't like the establishment candidates. I think it's sort of speaking to people who are tired of like this political machine. Like we talk about.
Yeah. So they sound like they're very similar, right? So it sounds like a great opportunity for Yang to take leadership of all these people with these very similar ideas and interests. We got to have something in common, right? What are the differences between MPP and Yang Gang? It's really not that different at all. Like, in fact, it's almost the exact same thing. And how much stronger would they be if they could get together? I don't think they have to get together on everything, right? But they could get together on certain issues and get those things passed. Both parties are for UBI, right? Asking for $2,000 a month for everybody, universal. I like that. I don't like the tier system. It makes the rich people not want to do it, right? But it's going to be universal across the board. Why can't we get that passed? Let the whole entire left unite right now, and then that could be bring so much power to Yang Gang themselves. You know what I mean? They would be seen as leaders and having get this passed.
Like, why can't we get that passed? There's no reason we shouldn't be able to get that passed, especially right now with everybody so strapped with the way the economy is due to COVID, now due to looting under the foil of protests.
So you and me, right? Let's try to get it done. Or maybe maybe it's already trying to get done, but what can we do to like advance this particular line, right? I invited a bunch of people tonight.
It's going to be getting rid of lifetime politicians who are long-term incumbents who are literally doing nothing, maybe giving some lip service to this issue right now.
Okay.
And replacing them with candidates who are progressive and have an interest in actually passing UBI like now. People who day one in Congress, that is going to be the torch that they hold up and say, this is the thing we are doing right now.
Yeah. MPP's trying to do the exact same thing.
And this is why we have to do it like en masse. We need multiple candidates. I mean, all we need is one candidate, but really like if we have multiple candidates across the country, like there's the person who's written the bill, then there are all the co-sponsors of the bill, that's where it's going to get done. And anybody who wouldn't want to go along with that is a fool, thinking that telling their constituents, sorry, I don't want to give you money, is going to be a good move politically for them.
Actually, Yang Gang's already like their like shotgun strategy of seeding all these candidates locally across the nation in so many different places is an amazing strategy, and it's actually been tried on the left for a long time. Yeah, because it's hard to take over the national election because there's so much machinery around it. But like little local elections, you can take those over and really create change. And the seabed that you guys have created, like from a nationwide, from California to New York, is super impressive. And I really think that it would be stronger to get like, you know, some of these other people that are on like, you know, MPP is like 40,000 people and growing, you know what I mean? And they're trying to actually grow from the exact same base, the exact same ideas that you're saying, right? We want to pivot to public, we want to Democrats, we want to get rid of the established people, we want to get rid of the lifers, you know what I mean? We want to get rid of the corporate control. They're saying the exact same things, you know what I mean? So you guys are competing.
And so to do this at the national level, yes, it's about getting congressional candidates.
Yeah.
They're going to represent their district, but they're also going to enact this legislation for everybody across the country, right? But then there's also the level of like, people have to, from all these camps, they have to start stepping up to either run or support people with the values of these candidates who ran nationally, to run at like super minuscule local levels. So for the state legislatures, for school boards, for
even
for like city council, like people who are invested in these policies need to run at those levels too, so that it's not just here's a candidate at the federal level and this is what they're trying to do. You've got to have support like in all of these ways. It's got to work like a constellation, not just like one shooting star.
You know, another thing, I don't know if you guys are already planning this, but an MPP and Tulsi, Taking Action Group, now Taking Action Group, used to be Tulsi Action Group. But the thing is that we both have an educational program to really turn people into activists so they can really see what's going on, you know what I mean? Does Yang Gang also have like plans to maybe provide training programs? Because a lot of people are new. But I'm so impressed by you. Like, you guys are obviously entrepreneurs and ran businesses before and ran as managers, because you know, your ability to get things done is just so much better than a lot of DNC operators and these lifetime political workers. They actually suck. They're too used to being
and it probably speaks to the fact that a lot of lifetime political I don't even know what to call them. They're not activists.
Workers, mercenaries, political mercenaries.
Maybe that's the word for it, but you know, that's their life, is jumping from one campaign to the next, and sure, they've got some sort of professional experience in that they can apply from one campaign to the next, but they don't necessarily have the interest and the heart behind it that's compelling them. So it's, you know, it's basically they're just doing it for the dollars.
And they'll sell out, you know what I mean? Yeah, and you can't buy loyalty, exactly.
So, and while we all do something for dollars, it's much more impactful when there's some passion behind it, when there's some belief behind it, when there's some conviction behind it. And I think the fact that, like, you know, the Yang campaign was built on volunteers because it's what they believed in. And I think that that's continued with a lot of the candidates who are, you know, running down ballot now. It's like the people who are backing them are primarily volunteers. Nobody's said, oh, here, I've got a lot of money, let me hire the staff. Oh, this is the person who's supposed to be the person in this arena. Let me hire them for my campaign. I don't hear much of that. I'm not privy to everybody's campaigns, but I don't hear much of that going on. It's mostly like people who are like, yeah, I can help, let me jump in. And you start out and then you get deeper and you get deeper, and then you're like working full time as a volunteer and you don't care because you want it to happen.
Yeah, I understand that. So yeah, I'm super inspired by you and all the work that I see you do. So please keep it up. If there's anything that I can ever do to help you, let me know. You know, I'm a Yang Ganger now, you know, just because of the strength of people like yourself that are really making the movement go, you know. I really like a lot of Tulsi, you know, like my whole family was destroyed by the war, so, you know, that's real personal for me. But the effectiveness of the Yang Gang cannot be denied. So, you know, I'm down to join with, that's the strength is in the numbers. So I'm a recruit, I'm signed up, yeah. We need those votes for Herzog and all those guys, it's gonna happen, yeah. At least from my end. Don't forget Mel, okay? Get rid of Grace Meng, please. Help me get rid of her. DNC,
I'm on it.
Need to go. Lifers gotta go. No more lifers, yeah. Okay?
Who's your candidate against Grace?
Mel DeGuerin.
All right,
He's going
I'm
against
all on
Grace
it.
Meng. Yeah.
I'll be promoting him on social media.
He needs it. Jamal is killing it. He's going way beast. He's like, I'm getting like 4 or 5 like, emails, like text, like, from the thing, like, oh, we made like 80 or 200 calls today. I mean, then I see Mel, he's got like 5 likes, 15 likes on his Twitter, and that's it. I'm like, oh my God, we need to turn this around, man. Yeah, when the Jamal people call me, I'm like, yo, you need to help out Mel, man. Maybe I should. How's Jonathan doing? Everything looking good, or could use some more battle, some more soldiers?
I mean, we're always taking people on. Anybody who wants to volunteer, we're always taking them on for sure.
I might join you for like I might put like 8 hours in, 10 hours, try to donate some time, and I hope everybody else watching, right? You don't have to put a lifetime of commitment in, but just 10 hours, 20 hours, whatever. You know what I mean? Just do it. Come on now. It's easy, okay? Easy. Yeah.
Just an hour a day here and there can be super helpful. There are a lot of campaigns. They are doing phone banking, they're doing text banking, and just to be able to like sit and press the send button on text for an hour is like super impactful. To be able to like pick up the dialer and make calls for an hour, super impactful. And it's funny, like right now everybody is they've been in lockdown for illness, they've been in lockdown for these curfews that have been enacted, and people are sort of craving connection. So I think that the days of when people wouldn't pick up their phone or would just hang up on you are over. People, they're willing to talk now.
Okay.
It's not so scary.
That's cool. Yeah, a lot of people are home now to take those calls. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very true. So, oh my goodness, that was so awesome. By the way, do people, obviously you're here promoting all the candidates. Do you have like a social media for people to follow, like a Facebook, a Twitter, like, where people should get the message from you? Oh, it's time to vote today, right? Like, maybe I'll put that message out. So, do you have social media for people to follow or not really?
I have my personal social media that I'm just using and posting with. I'm doing a lot of posting for Jonathan Herzog's campaign. Oh, okay. Bless you.
Thank you.
So that's Herzog2020.com is the website. We've got Facebook. We've got him on Twitter, Jonathan Herzog 5. But there are a lot of other really great candidates also that you
Go
can
to NYC
check out.
Gang on Facebook, right? Join that group. She's always posting up some stuff about another candidate, right? It's really cool. So that's where you're going to see her post up, and also find out about a lot of other cool candidates too. Honestly, Yang Gang is supporting so many cool candidates. There's other people posting too, but she's definitely one of the top contributors. So there's no question about it. Right? Would you say that's accurate? That's cool, right?
I just get a working method down and then I just go for it. And so I just get that system down, and then everybody's gotta listen to what I'm posting.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm following it and I'm inspired by it. Thank you so much. I wish that the Tulsi Gang had more people like yourself. Yeah.
I would like to see more activity from Tulsi and her gang. I think she had a lot of good ideas and was willing to speak up in a way that other people aren't.
Yeah.
And the other one I would actually mention is Marianne Williamson. I really wish that, she'd gotten more traction and that people hadn't been so dismissive of her. I think this speaks to like our human resistance to change. That, when there are people who talk a bit more radically, more about change, like we as human beings are just a bit resistant to change. It seems scary to us. And so we tend to sort of dismiss people when they're more about change versus like keeping the status quo, because when we stay with the status quo, to our like ancient reptilian brains, that means safety.
Okay. What a career, what were you coming from before? Well, what type of, I was in the music industry, so we're always about like some new thing, the latest thing, you know what I mean? Like we're always.
Well, I'm
like
a visual
changing.
artist. I'm trained as a printmaker, and I do run a print studio.
So you guys have golden triangle, like the golden rectangle, like certain proportions you guys are looking for that are universally good, right? Yeah.
Well, I think as an artist, like you're just more like there's the starving artist archetype, right? Like you're a little more comfortable with uncertainty than like the average person who like gets a 9-to-5 job and then just does that every day for the rest of their lives for 50 years, right? And so I just think like when you're a creative, when you're an artist, when you're an entrepreneur, like you're a bit more willing to accept some change and some uncertainty in life. And so I think that's why I'm attracted to some of these
right, the
candidates.
people will buy it, you know what I mean? If you got that hot new track, you know what I mean, it sounds completely different, but you made it good, like people will buy it, you know what I mean? And if you have like a new, like people want a little something new too. So I got faith if people like yourself, like the Yang Gang, like who's known for like creating high quality material. The thing is that before all the paid guys, right, the McKinsey people, right, Pete, right, who are like from the best schools, right, who got all that training, who's getting paid by the corporate millionaires, right, to spend time making product, right, they're kicking our asses. But if, you know, if us people that are passionate about it, who aren't paid, right, but got skills, jump in the game, we're going to kill them, you know what I mean? Because you can't buy loyalty. I mean, so I got faith in you. You know what I mean? You're doing a great job. Keep it up. I will come to help out. Let me know, okay? And keep us in the loop. And when it's time for things to happen, right, like when it's time for the final call, hit me up. I will help amplify your message, all right? Thanks again.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one, all right?
All right. Thanks, Ed. Good talking with you.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ L7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
Truth of these
We
words
are on all
is
the major
beyond
platforms.
doubt.
That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute and Daily Motion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? Or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you can hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos, make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot, and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.